Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a review for you for Todd Field's return to film after 16 years, Tar. This film stars the always wonderful Cate Blanchett as Lydia Tar, who plays a composer, just maestro, one of the most well-known musical minds of her day. At the beginning of the film, they actually read out her CV, and it's just accomplishment after accomplishment. She's one of the most well-renowned musicians around the world. The film follows as Lydia's life starts to become unraveled, not only by her power starting to lose her grasp as the film progresses in anticipation of a very important recording and concert, but her own psychological awareness starts to be muted as everything around her starts to crumble away. This is a psychological character study into such a fascinating individual that led myself to a profound experience. Tar is perceptive in its depiction of how reactive our culture is and the danger that is associated with that volatility. The film expertly dissects cancel culture and ponders the question of whether you can separate the art from the artist in riveting fashion, mostly due to the fact that the film has an acute understanding of the relationship between art, artist, and audience, and respects all parties. I feel like often we see filmmakers, especially because they view themselves as artists, that they maybe turn a blind eye to the audience, or they don't respect the necessity of an audience to interpret their work. But that's what I really appreciate in Todd Field's vision for this film. There isn't an ounce of pretension in the work as a whole. Some of the characters are pretentious, but I don't feel the film is itself, because it approaches every aspect of this film with an unexpected level of sympathy that allows you to understand these characters and their world, that allow you to internalize their lived experience to a greater extent. Now, I was fortunate enough to attend a screening of this film that was followed by a Q&A with Cate Blanchett herself. But she describes the film as a rehearsal piece. This isn't a performance piece. It's all about this rehearsal of this concert that Lydia, the main character, is preparing for. We are inundated with knowledge and information, and the exacerbation of that awareness of every facet of people's lives, especially when you're in public life, I think has changed our relationship to art and the artistry. And so what I love about this idea that the film is a rehearsal is it shows that humanity and our experiences in society are always forward moving. We're never given the time to properly reflect on our actions and then make amendments to our behavior. The reflection and action of our lives are constant. They're simultaneous. Our future actions are never really responding to our past aggressions, and we're kind of just left in a tornado between the two, trying to make out some form of life. The film expresses the why of life with such clarity. I came away from this film with such a renewed understanding of the perspective of life and why we make certain actions, why we're unaware of the actions we're making and the hurt that we could be causing in other people. It's such, as I said at the top of this review, it's such a profound experience to be reminded of the power in your own existence. It's a film that elicited an internal redefinition into my own ethos, into how I view the world. This film doesn't exist in absolutes, which I think is the strongest aspect of this film. Another brilliant aspect of this film is the conformity of life and the conformity of art. We all view ourselves as the heroes of our own stories, but this film starts to peel back the layers into why we perceive ourselves as always acting altruistically or always acting with the best intentions. Nina Haas's performance, who is just outstanding in this film, she explores the culpability of inaction, and when we allow people who are doing wrong actions or are down a path that could lead them to a wrong that they're unaware of, the culpability of not realizing this or not clocking these signals, because we may not commit these actions, but the awareness of it, we are a bystander to the corruptibility of power. Speaking to the conformity of art, there's an impeccable scene shot in one take, and it's got to be one of the most brilliantly crafted one-shots ever. It's this whole scene. It takes place in Juilliard, where Lydia Tar is giving a lecture, and it establishes every single aspect of this film, the messages and the themes it's going to portray. It establishes Lydia's character and how she goes about her place within the pantheon of music history. The film is a constant crescendo, building off of every single moment. There isn't an ounce of fat to this film. Everything is necessary and working towards the end goal, to the point that it reached the final scene. And I will not spoil what that is, but it just left me completely in awe of, again, the sympathy that Field possesses. I also really admired the third act and how Field approaches the pace of the edit. There are certain scenes that are one shot and they're 10 seconds, and then we move on to another location, another scene, and then we repeat this rhythm for multiple shots. And I think what's so great about it is, as Lydia starts to unravel, you really see how fleeting life is when you feel it has no purpose. The beginning has so many long takes, languid but full of purpose and meaning and professional joy for her, because she's doing what she loves. And as the film starts to get away from her, she isn't reveling in life the same way. And it's a really bold change of pace, but I think Field is able to maintain his grasp over it because you are so rooted within Lydia Tarr's perspective. Which brings me to Cate Blanchett, who is absolutely phenomenal. I've seen people describe this as her Daniel Plainview, and I truly think this is a performance on caliber with Daniel Day-Lewis, with the best of Meryl Streep. This is one of the best performances in recent memory, and among some of the best I can think of, because it is a performance that has a wit to it, yet has such darkness and despair. It is a just beautiful, heartbreaking, confronting performance that the whole movie holds all confidence in. This performance will make or break the film, and this is why the film soars, because Blanchett approaches this character with an unflinching compassion. You understand her in ways that almost scares you, because you're being rooted into a world that you don't necessarily feel that you would want to opt into. But with that comes the universality of cinema, because you're able to see through the eyes of someone that is suffering despite so many of their own terrible actions. It is because of her actions that she is where she is in this film. But you can feel her internal pain while acknowledging the external decisions she's made that has led to that pain. Seeing fear in someone like Lydia, who is so powerful, injects a level of tension that imbues the film with complexity and spirit. The visceral reality that is created with this film, despite a 2-hour and 40-minute runtime, it's a fleeting experience. At least it was for me, because it's a type of film that you're so engrossed by the story that even though you're aware that, oh my God, that's such a brilliant place, or such an innovative place to put the camera, or how you move the camera, or the inflections, or how this is all working, all of that, it's one of the few times I've been able to put that in the back of my mind and just watch the story unfold, because everything is working exactly as it intended, and probably even more so than it was intended. This rises above what film could do and shows you what film should do. It's hyperbolic to say it's life-changing, and words can't express our cliched phrases, but I truly think that Tar represents the unlimited confines of what cinema can accomplish. To see Tar is to see a film that makes you only dream this is what every film could do. So that's my review of Tar. Please, I impress onto you, seek this film out. Even if I think it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's so worth seeing this film, getting into a conversation with it as a viewer, and seeing what it will do. There's a daringness to this film because of the way it plays with you. There are certain sequences that you may not understand completely, but it's a film that I think if you give it time and you allow to be, just let it wash over you as a viewer, I think you are going to see that this is a film worth your time. For me, it is by far and away one of the best films I've seen in years, and I just am so indebted to Todd Field, to Cate Blanchett, and to the entire cast and crew who created this work. Thank you so much for watching my review. Make sure to hit subscribe to not miss any new videos from Spoilers Ahead with Anthony Post. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you at the movies.